addressed some of my issues being a breast cancer survivor. 3 years ago, I had a mastectomy, and I'm lucky enough to be here today. So I choose how I spend my time, energy, money, and resources. And it has become an absolute priority that Feldenkrais is in my life because it's been such a positive influence as I move forward to greater things that are going to happen in my life.
When did you start doing Feldenkrais?
Well, I started taking and participating in Feldenkrais, perhaps it was 6 months ago, 7 months ago. And it was introduced to me by a very trusted, respected cardiologist of all people. And he said, after I had given him my list of issues in my body, he said, I think Feldenkrais would be something that you should explore. And because of the source, I just trust him and respect his work in the medical community. I said, okay, I don't need any other endorsement, I will go. And he recommended Tiffany. I had no idea what it was or how it was going to impact me, but it was the best thing that I've done in my life, in my 52 years. When I came, I remember it distinctly. I took a Sunday workshop, and the day before, I had hiked in the Kangamangas Highway, I forget which mountain it was. And so I thought it was maybe like a 2-hour hike, and I had hiked 8 hours. And I had already paid for the class, it was Sunday, and I said, I have to go, I'll go. And I dragged my body into the class, like cinder blocks going up the stairs. And after the class, which was a workshop, it was about 4 to 6 hours, I can't remember. When I left, I had a totally new body. I don't understand the mechanics at the time, how it happened, but I just floated down the stairs, took a walk, and every ache and pain that I brought into the class was gone. So right then and there, the first class, I just fell in love with Tiffany and Feldenkrais. And over the last 7 months, I've taken different workshops and different classes and done one-on-one with Tiffany for specific issues. And everything has resolved, which is amazing because I've been to doctors for carpal tunnel, for tendonitis, and it's always medicate, inject, take this pill. And with Tiffany, it's an amazingly gentle touch. And what she's actually doing is enabling me to know my own body and how it works, which sounds absurd since I've been in this body for X amount of years. You would think I would have mastered all the movements, but your mind gets sort of locked into ways that you do things, and you forget that you have ribs and that you have shoulders and that you're not reaching from your shoulder, you can reach from your back. And so it sounds very, very simple and so obvious, but that's something that apparently as we get older we forget, and we get more in our heads of the way we should be doing things and the way someone told you to do things, and you move quicker and multitask. And this just brought me such enlightenment to my body that I can use it in a different way, in a better way. So there's ease and grace in the things that I do now, where before being exposed to Feldenkrais, there was pain and there was angst and trying to do chores, trying to do my work, trying to climb a pair of stairs, whatever. So it's just brought me great inspiration and enlightenment in my body, which has sort of flowed over to other aspects of my life. Once I realized the parasitic movements that I was making that were zapping my energy, I was able to put that thought process into what I do at work or relationships or whatever aspect it is of my life. I find that Feldenkrais is influencing it, which when I started, I had no idea this was all going to unfold. So for me, it's just been extremely rewarding and enlightening and amazing and fun more than anything else. For instance, a couple days ago I took her class it was a drop-in for, I forget the name of the class.
Self-image to self, or?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Keeping, I'm not an arm, a leg, a neck. I'm a whole person, which sounds obvious when we talk about it, but in our daily movements, we don't realize that. So took the class, our class, and then I happened to go to the library. Well, the first step I took onto the stairs, my body was moving differently because I had just left class and I had learned how to move my hips and ribs in a different way. So suddenly I wasn't using my quadricep to lift my leg to go up all the stairs. If I just make a little adjustment to my hips and my ribs, I could ease my way up the stairs, which it was just amazing. So you always have these moments after class, whether it's the next day, the next week, or when you're about to approach some activity, you just find greater ease and grace in the things that you do through Feldenkrais.
Have you been doing more activities or different activities since you started doing Feldenkrais?
That's a good question. So my activities haven't necessarily increased. I haven't started rock climbing or jogging or bicycling, which I would like to do, and I will at some point, but what's helped me is just daily activities have morphed into something that wasn't there before, if that makes any sense. In other words, I work at Trader Joe's, and it's a very physical job, obviously, and very labor intensive. And I found through Feldenkrais that I was able to really take the burden of the physical part of my job away from the job because of the movements that Tiffany has taught me through Feldenkrais. Not necessarily I've come to her and said, I need to stack cases of water. How do I stack it? But it's more of the way that I would introduce the activity to my own body, where I would stand, how I would reach, and the movements that I would use. So in answer to your question, I've increased my activity by decreasing my activity. Mm-hmm. I don't have those parasitic movements that I once had where, remember Michael Jordan? He had a parasitic movement. He always felt their tongue out when he was trying to do something. Mm. So everyone has those little movements that they do. I tend to clench my jaw. And I didn't even realize it until I was in class with Tiffany practicing, moving my arm, and all of a sudden I'm clenching my jaw. Why? How does that help you move your arm? It doesn't. So that's the things that have she's allowed me to learn and experience. So Feldenkrais opens doors for you to experience your own body. It doesn't force you to, it doesn't teach you how to do these things. You must do this, you must do that, and then you will achieve this. It just makes you aware and opens doors for your own exploration, which is very different than anything I've ever experienced before. It's kind of like a gift that you give yourself, and you really don't know what it is until you start opening it. And when you open it, it just keeps opening and opening, and you find out more and more. So it's really cool, I think anyways. So.
Have you, it sounds like you've been more creative, is that right?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's ignited a lot of avenues that I haven't dared to pursue. And we'll leave it like that since we're on camera. Yes, and I'll be able to move towards them with grace and ease, which is nice.
So how many times do you come? Do you come once a week to the classes?
No, I'm a novice. I'm, for lack of a better word, almost a virgin Feldenkrais person, because I've done 3 all-day workshops. I've done 3 one-on-ones with Tiffany, and perhaps 2 random classes, and that's over a period of 7 months. So that's amazing, the insights and the gifts that Feldenkrais has given me, where I've gone to doctors in physical therapy week after week after week to find no relief. Whereas the pain in my shoulders, my arms, my elbow, my carpal tunnel have all gone.
Wow.
They've dissipated, they're gone.
Yeah.
So I just embrace it, and I have a lot of gratitude for the whole process. So that's why I'm willing to do this and talk about it, because everyone needs to know about Feldenkrais and participate.
How would you explain Feldenkrais to someone who's never heard of it before?
That's really a challenge, actually. And the best way I was able to explain it to someone was to say, okay, after I attempted, the intellectual parasitic movements and rewiring your brain, and they just kind of, what? So I just said, okay, sit, both feet on the ground. Now lift your left foot off the ground, keeping your heel down. And they do it. And then I said, do you feel some tension in your calf muscle? Do you feel something there? I'm like, yeah. And then I'll say, okay, put your foot down. And then I'll say, do it again, but just slightly put your neck down and do it again. And then they'll do it again. And they'll go, wait a minute, why is it not tight anymore? Why? I say, because you're connecting to whole. No matter what movement you make in your body, it's going to affect your whole body. And that's Feldenkrais, is just making you aware of what your body can and can't do, and ways that you are in control of helping it do things with grace and ease. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the best way I can, I think that's the hardest part of Feldenkrais, is explaining it, because how do you explain something that's so amazing and so easy, and you just say, wait a minute, what's the trick here? I don't understand. However, there isn't a trick. It's your body, and you're in control. And you always have been, but nobody actually taught you that. And that's the missing component. But yes, whether you've gone to chiropractors and physical therapists and neuromuscular people, no one actually tells you that you don't have to use parts of your body that you don't need to use to move something. And then that'll alleviate the tension in this part of your body, which will alleviate the tension over here. And so it's all connected. I think that's the common thread. It's just, you're a whole person. You're not just parts disconnected. And when you realize that it is all connected, and you move in that way, it impacts every part of your life, because that's all connected, but we just kind of forgot.
Yeah, and the body and the mind too.
All one. Yeah, it's not a separate department.
Yeah. Can you say anything about Tiffany as practitioner?
Oh my gosh, what can I not say? She's amazingly knowledgeable, professional, gentle touch, a very, very articulate teacher, physically and verbally. She is very in tune with the person that's in front of her, what their needs are. I never found her imposing her thoughts or beliefs onto what's happening with my body. Very respectful, total trust, and I would highly recommend her to my mother, my son, and those are the two people that I love the most in the world. So.
Cool, great. That's all
And
I
you
can
get me
think
all
of.
emotional. I think the most important thing that I want to convey to people that might be watching this is that you have choices that will help you open creatively, help you with pain, and just generally redirect and revamp your life. And you have the ability to make that happen by just participating in a Feldenkrais class with Tiffany, workshop, one-on-one, whatever your comfort level is, it will be the best money that you've ever spent. And once you have, there'll be no turning back. Your life will just be pretty amazing, and you'll find yourself probably in the position that I am, doing uncomfortable things, talking about all this, but you believe in it so much, and it's helped you achieve so many things in your life that you were just floundering, trying to get some medical treatment for, and the key was always just within you. You just needed guidance and some someone to show you the ability of how to relearn things. So wholeheartedly, I recommend any class that Tiffany offers without any reserve.